Hi, everybody. Mike Lynch here. I'm just going to go over my rubric and real quick. So I only have 5 minutes, so without paying for this feature, so I'm going to get right into it. So my learning target for the first rubric is I can raise my hand in order to answer a question not specifically directed toward me. And this is under the CCSS, the Common Core Standard of Learning and Speaking for third grade. Criteria is for raising a hand during story time. The student will raise his or her hand when a question is asked to the group without calling out the answer before chosen. So to exceed that, the student would raise their hand every time a question is asked to the group without calling out. To meet that expectation, the student raises their hand some of the time and calls out only some of the time. And then needs improvement, the student raises his hand little to no times when the question is asked to the group and calling out the answer most or all of the time. I stuck with a very simple rubric for this because it's my first one. So the second criteria is when a student is not called upon, he or she will lower their hand quietly and wait for the next question to be asked. So the student will lower to exceed expectations. So the student will lower hand and quietly wait every single time. To meet expectations, they only have to do it some of the time. And then to needs improvement, they don't lower their hand at all, and they're not quiet in order to wait for the next question. So that's my third grade for that rubric, third grade learning and speaking. The next one I did was a sixth grade writing. Learning target was I can demonstrate that I understand the meaning of an article by writing a paragraph summarizing its content. So the rubric is for a conclusion paragraph, basically. So the first one is student will write a paragraph that's 3 to 4 sentences. So can I write can I write 3 to 4 sentences to create a conclusion paragraph? Exceeds, student writes 4 to 5 sentences in conclusion paragraph. Meets, the student writes 3 sentences, so that's the bare minimum in the paragraph. And needs improvement, the student writes 1 to 2 sentences in the conclusion paragraph. The second criteria is students will identify 3 points he or she has read in order to add the conclusion paragraph to summarize the article. So to exceed, the student maybe identifies 4 or more points, understanding that they know they can summarize even more than 3 points in the paragraph. Meets, the student identifies 3 points mentioned in the article, adds them to the conclusion. And then needs improvement, the student identifies 1 to 2 points mentioned in the article and adds them to the conclusion paragraph. Finally, the criteria for my rubric on this learning target is student will use correct punctuation within the conclusion paragraph. So exceeds, the student uses all correct punctuation in the conclusion paragraph. Meets, the student uses most correct punctuation in the conclusion paragraph. And then needs improvement, the student uses little to no punctuation in the conclusion paragraph. I stuck with a fairly simple rubric, like I said, because this is my first one. So I do invite feedback on this assignment, just so that I always want feedback to improve. But like I said, for me, starting out, this was kind of the basic of how to go about creating a rubric. So thanks for your time, and thanks again.